Hi and welcome to this video all about the studio horns in Logic Pro 10. So this video was actually taken from my complete Logic Pro 10 course. To gain access to this complete course, then be sure to check out the link in the description below.
Okay, now let's have a look at studio horns. So let's go over to the instruments, go down to studio horns, and I'm going to choose stereo. This is very similar to the studio strings. We have a few different options here. We have the articulation, so we can choose the articulation for the horns. This is one of my favorite things about these new studio session instruments, is you can choose the articulation, and these can be selected for the MIDI notes separately as well. So throughout a section, you can have different articulation. Let's just open up musical typing with Command and K and have a listen to some of these trumpet sounds. Remember, you will need the right octave for this to be played. However, if you go to the advanced section and you actually check extended key range, it will play the whole key range. However, this is not the range for the instrument. For example, a trumpet can physically not play this low. But if we have extended key range selected in the advanced section, this might be useful for quickly adding in ideas or sound design. But I'm actually going to uncheck this and just have the ranges that it's meant to play. You can hear right now it's playing one note when I play two, because monophonic is selected, which means it will just play one note at a time. Now if I play both of these notes, you can hear it's played two notes, three notes, and now four notes. We can go through and have a look at some of the other horns. We have sections, R&B section, soul section, jazz section. We also have saxophones, trumpets, and trombones. Let's click trombone. And you'll notice we have articulations for this as well. Let's try growl. This is quite an interesting one. Let's try scoop. Let's try full long. So we can get some quite fun ones. I do recommend going through these and just experimenting. Full short. Shake. Okay, so we can get some fun ones. And for horns, they do sound quite realistic. But I'm going to choose jazz section. And depending what octave you are, it will play certain instruments. So if you're in a lower octave, it will play the lower instruments like the baritone sax and the bass trombone. If you're higher, it will play the higher instruments such as the alto sax and the trumpets. Going down, we have dynamics via CC. So we can use the mod wheel on our MIDI controller to control some dynamics. It will also tell us the last played articulation, which currently is shake, but if we change this to say full short, it will still say shake. Until I play again, it will change to full short. Then we have auto vibrato, so if we increase this, let's just change this back to sustain. We'll just add a little bit more vibrato. We have humanize as well. Which will set the amount of random variation to make it sound a bit more human. Obviously, if it's exactly the same every single time, that will not sound like a human, because a human will have different breath amounts. A human won't be able to play it exactly the same every single time. So if you want some random variations, just increase this. And of course, we have the volume, we have the attack. So if you want the notes to come in a bit slower, gradually enter, have attack up. If we have 0% on release, as soon as I let go of the keys, the sound will pretty much stop. If I increase this, it will gradually fade away. So I'm going to let go of the keys now. You can hear it gradually goes down. We can have key clicks as well. So sometimes on saxophone, for example, or trumpets, you might hear some of the key clicks. So you can increase this if you want to hear more key clicks. But like I said, you can actually have different articulations for different MIDI notes. So if I just go into this MIDI information here, I can select this first chord here, right click, go into articulation, and I could change this to say full long. The second chord, I could change this by right clicking to say shake. Now let's hear this chord where we have full long and then we have shake. Let's just solo the horns here. and then it goes back to, I believe, sustain. Okay, so let's just go back into the horns, going to increase the volume to 0 dB, and let's hear this in the mix of the song. So it really depends on what you want for your song. However, if you're using a track and you can't physically get a trumpet player or a sax player or even a horn section together, you can just go onto Studio Horns and use this as a software instrument. What a lot of people do as well is they will mix software instruments with real instruments, with actually recorded instruments in the studio, just to bulk it out, just to make it sound even bigger. So if you do have access to, say, a trumpet player, a saxophone player, a trombone player, you could also mix this horn section with a real life instrument as well, just to make it sound bigger. And you'll also get some real sounds in there as well. But for a software instrument for horn sounds, this sounds pretty good. Normally horn sounds don't really sound that realistic. But this one's pretty nice, and it's very useful to have all these different articulations that you can actually assign to different MIDI notes. So thank you for watching this lecture, all about the studio horns.
This video was part of my complete Logic Pro 10 course. To gain access to this full course, then be sure to check out the link in the description below.